For more on this, we're joined by Seijiro Takeshita in Shizuoka, Japan. He's a professor at the School of Management and Informatics at the University of Shizuoka. Welcome back to the program, Professor. Firstly, why is TSMC diversifying production outside of Taiwan?
Well, basically, is to avoid or lessen or decrease their geopolitical risk. They already have planning of opening of a very, very big factory in Kumamoto in Japan. And basically, to have a stronger economic ties means that our friendship will turn into the brotherhood, which is wonderful for both Japan and Taiwan, who are allies. So it's not only economic, issues that are involved in this. Of course, economic is the main reason, but there's also a geopolitical factor that's associated with this move, I think.
And Sony already dominates the global image sensor market. How does bringing TSMC directly into a joint venture rather than simply purchasing their wafers help Sony defend its market lead against aggressive expansion from rivals like Korea's Samsung?
Yeah, and also the Chinese as well. Well, it's a very big investment, as you reported. So obviously, in order to basically diversify risk, they want to have partners. It's, a natural thing to do. And at the same time, they can also have a scale of economy, and that's very important in this product, as we all know. At the same time, unfortunately, it takes time for return on investment capital to really appear. So basically, they need a partner that is very much of a long-term, which could also diversify the risk, share the risk together. So from the Sony's point of view, it's wonderful that they can tie up with, the major players like TSMC. Now, let's face it, Sony's, as you just reported, has 53% market share in sensors. But as far as the processors, it's the TSMC. So basically, it's almost like shaking hands with somebody who makes an eye and who makes a brain. So it makes all the sense. It's almost like killing, 3 or 4 or 5 birds with one stone.
Right, and how is Japan using government subsidies to rebuild its status as a tech superpower?
Well, that's another very good point. In the 80s, Japan had the domination of this industry, but now virtually it's basically flung away. Of course, we have players, as you just reported, like Sony, or we have Kioxia, ex-Toshiba. These kind of players still very, very strong, but it's not necessarily dominant as it was in case in the 1980s. So, I think they understand that there is a thing called leapfrog technology, meaning that, you have to constantly innovate in order to basically stay at the top of the curve. So I think the government is starting to realize, obviously, and from that point of view, I think they're very forward and willing to invest in this area.
Now, this partnership heavily targets physical AI applications like robotics and autonomous vehicles. Are these high-performance image sensors becoming just as strategically critical to the tech industry as the advanced processing chips powering the AI boom?
Absolutely, and that's the reason why this is such an ideal, tie-up. It's not only, the smartphones, but as you just reported, it's going to very much going to be utilized into the auto drives, also industrial robots, smart factories, what have you, something that could determine instantly once it's in the screen. Those are the demand that will be rising quite rapidly. So from that point of view, yes, physical AI market is going to rise very rapidly. And from that point of view as well, this tie-up, I think, is very ideal.
Now, the global semiconductor sales are projected to hit $1.5 trillion this year. Does the global supply chain, including raw materials and packaging infrastructure, have the capacity to reach this target?
I don't think so. And that's one of the reasons why you're seeing such a volatile but also buoyant moves, in this sector, globally speaking. But I think we should also, consider about the hegemony of war between the United States and Unitarian states. So basically, we're talking about in general, but if you're talking about the top-notch technologies, I think there will be a lot of political issues that will get involved from here onward. So these are another factor that I think we should keep a very strong and keen eye on as well.
Professor Seijiro Takeshita, thank you very much for joining us.